Hey everyone. So welcome to My Rising Rose, where we expand our minds and unify ourselves with the different beings in our cosmic family while remaining grounded and ordinary in our humanity. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I often don't really have a plan when I come to talk to you like this. So that's the same today. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, but I just had a feeling that there was something that wanted to come through. And today I'm going to channel the white dragon of the Rising Rose for you. Her name is Thlian Deshan. It's difficult to pronounce, but it's like Thlian. If you're familiar with the Welsh language, it's kind of similar to that. Thlian Deshan. And she's a dragon of peace. And I'm going to be channeling her when group 2 moves into the upper chakra dragons at the beginning of February. If you'd like to join that group, we're going to open up for new members from now. So anyone who wants to sign up for that can take a look at the link in the description and see if dragon medicine feels like the right thing for you. It's been quite amazing for me going on this journey with the dragons, which began a few years ago when I first connected with them. And not long after they connected, they were telling me that they wanted me to create this thing called dragon medicine, and that they were going to initiate me into their consciousness, into the dragon consciousness, so that they could then initiate other people through me. And it's been quite amazing to be prepared for that over a couple of years, and then to finally start running that in June last year. And we've had quite a few people coming through the 3 different groups that we're running, well over 50 people, and it's amazing to see the developments and the changes. The ones that really stand out to me are when people start having the experiences that I've been having for however many years, like it was about 10, 11, 12, something like that years ago when I had this Kundalini awakening. And ever since then, I've been able to connect with supernatural beings, and they've just been telepathically communicating with me pretty much every day and giving me guidance on what's happening in my life, giving me support. It's been a bit like having a therapist and a best friend and all sorts of different relationships, like a mother and a father, just in my mind through these telepathic connections. And it's completely changed my life. I don't know how I would have got through the difficulties of spiritual awakening without that. So when I see people starting to have the kinds of experiences that I've been having over these years and start to open up to that support for themselves, it makes all of the challenges that I had to get through to get here really worthwhile. And there have been plenty of challenges. It's not been the easiest ride, and any of you going through your own spiritual awakening know that there's plenty of bumps in the road, and it's not all love and light, though for some of you you'll wish that it is that. But the reality is it's not all love and light. Love and light is a part of reality, and for some of us we're more tuned into it than others. For some of us there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of power. And for me, a big part of my journey in this life is to really descend. So not to ascend away from the earth and into the heavens above, but to descend down into the earth itself. And through doing that, what I found is that actually you can find heaven below. It can be revealed through the downward path. but it has a different kind of feeling when you reach it from that direction. And in some ways I think it can be more humbling, because you have to get into the real grit and pain of human life and face the things that you'd rather not face in yourself and in the world around you. But what it does is it builds a lot of humility and a lot of honesty. I've learned that there's nothing I can really do to stop myself from being who I am. And I just have to accept the full reality of that. Right? To accept that I'm flawed and that I have a shadow side and that there's parts of me that want power and want my desires to be fulfilled, and there's a primal, animal, even savage aspect of myself. And over the years I've been coming more and more to peace with that reality of who I am. And I feel that that's really missing from a lot of spiritual work. There's a lot of spiritual teachers out there who are more in this kind of ascended upward direction, away from the shadow, which has its place, and for some people that will be the right path for them. But for other people it really won't be. And for me, that's not my path. I'm definitely a down and in kind of person, rather than an up and out. And for me, I'm glad that I've gone on this humbling journey down. And that kind of ties in actually to something. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been doing dragon medicine for, I don't know how long it's been now, 7-8 months, something like that. And it was never something that I intended to do forever. I don't see myself as like this dragon guy. I kind of have been labeled like that. But, you know, that I just see that as like a passing phase for me. Like, I'll always love these beings, these dragons of the rising rose who have come to me. But I can't see myself making them the sole focus of my career and the way that I work with people. In fact, I feel strongly that once these 3 dragon medicine groups and some other projects connected to dragon medicine that I'm doing along with my team, once that's complete, I may continue on with one dragon medicine group, possibly. But I think that would be the limit. And one of the reasons is because dragons aren't the only beings that I work with. And also that connecting with otherworldly beings isn't the only thing that I do and the only thing that's important to the spiritual path. So I want to bring in elements where it's me working directly with people without so much of the supernatural emphasis. And I've come up with a project that I think will work really well with that. There's been a course kind of in the back of my mind for a few years, actually, for longer than dragon medicine. That's kind of, I can feel it building. If you've ever created something like this, then you know that these things have a life of their own. It's like when an author is writing a book from an authentic place. It feels more like you're the vessel for this work to come through, rather than being the true creator of it. I don't know if you like the band, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but the lead guitarist, I've forgotten his name now. My memory isn't so good these days. But the lead guitarist from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he was quoted in a magazine once saying that he didn't feel that he actually is the creator of the music that he writes, and that he performs. He feels that he is a channel through which nature expresses itself. And I thought that was a surprisingly deep realization. Like that's a really deep way of looking at things, and I think that's a really high-level musician who can do that. And I do think that that's what he does. If you've ever heard his live performances, he's an incredible guitar player. Where was I going? So there's a course that I want to do that is just me teaching people without so much of the supernatural. I mean, I think some of it's going to be in there. It's just kind of part of the territory for my life, but I really want to emphasize this kind of very grounded approach to things. Like sometimes I'll look through the comments on interviews that I do, and to be honest, I see a lot of really ungrounded people, and people who are really trying to run away from their human life into a fantasy world. And there's a lot of potential issues with opening up to higher levels of consciousness and the beings there. It's very easy to get confused and lost along the way. It's very easy to kind of fall into various traps around our humanity and turn it all into this ego thing where it's like I can't remember I can't remember things at the moment, but there's a famous teacher who wrote a book called Spiritual Materialism, and he was talking about the way that we turn our spiritual awakenings into objects and trophies, which I'm guilty of doing that. Like, there's definitely a part of me that does that, but I see it in some people, and it's potentially pretty bad. So part of what I want to do is kind of moving away from that, just to help people ground into the ordinary human part of things. And also I want to honor the dark goddesses who I've been strongly connected with over the past 10 or so years. I want to give them their time to shine and give people an opportunity to work with them. There was a program that I was doing maybe a year or so before Dragon Medicine, and I was only doing it one-to-one with people. And it's something that I'd like to bring back, because a lot of that, there was some really, really valuable insights in there. And again, that's not me being big-headed, because it wasn't mine. It was through the goddess Hela, the Scandinavian goddess of the underworld, who shared all this knowledge through me, and I would just sit and, I would have a session ready to go one day, and I didn't have anything written for it, and then I would just sit down and she would just download the information into me, and that would be what the session would be. And then I'd do it with my client, and it would be this just absolutely amazing work. So I feel like these dark goddesses are really misunderstood, and they have a huge amount to offer. So that's also one of the things that I want to bring forward in the future. But for the time being, we're doing Dragon Medicine. It's amazing. Like, it is an incredible thing to be doing. I'm still pretty amazed that this is what I get to do with my life. It's incredible watching people awaken. It's amazing watching how the dragons work with people. There's been times where they do something that I've never seen them do before, and it'll be just what that person needed in that moment. And I'm kind of in the background watching it happen, and it's like my jaw is kind of hanging open, because I'm like, I didn't know that was possible. I can't go into details, because obviously what we're doing in Dragon Medicine is confidential, and that's their experience to have, the person and the people who go through those things. But there's some amazing work being done, and it's amazing to be a part of it. So, what I'd like to do today is to channel Thlian Deshan for you. Let me just briefly explain that. So there are 9 different dragons of the Rising Rose that we work with. Technically there's one more, but we work directly with 9 of them. 7 of those link to the 7 colored chakras of the human body. The earth also has 7 chakras, and so does the cosmos. And each of the dragons represents one of the chakras of the cosmos. So those are the 7 colored dragons. But I mentioned that I'm going to be channeling the white dragon. So the white and the black dragons are like above and below. And the white dragon above holds, if you like, the heavens or the overworld. And the black dragon below holds the underworld. You could think of them as kind of higher and lower regions of consciousness. Or the ascended and descended directions of our own awakening self, something like that. Everything that I'm sharing, this whole way of approaching it, which the dragons presented themselves to me as, it's just like one way of looking at this situation. Like as I see it, like these same beings could present themselves to somebody in an entirely different way and not call themselves the dragons of the Rising Rose. They could call themselves something completely different and present themselves in a completely different way, and that could be authentic. I'm not really holding on to these things and the way that it's done. It's just arising in the way that it needs to arise for me right now, and that's what I'm sharing because it resonates with me and it works with me. So you're free to take and leave whatever you like. Like, you are the one who gets to decide that. I would hope that you take it and leave it in a grounded way, a respectful way. Not everybody does that, but that's what I would hope. But anyway, let's just go on to channel Thlian Deshan. She's a heavenly dragon of peace and one of the supreme dragons of the Rising Rose. So I'll channel her for you now. Normalization. 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 See if you can feel the shift in energy. Thlian Deshan. Thlian Deshan. I am Thlian Deshan, White Dragon of the Rising Rose. Part of the white chakra of the cosmos, or you could say the heavenly dimension of the cosmos. You could also say I am an agent of the heavenly dimension of your own being. I'm here today to invite you into peace, a peace beyond control, a peace beyond knowing. Jack has been going through some spiritual shifts recently around this, the releasing of control and knowing, the realization that his own self is actually kind of an illusion. And I'm here today to help that. Some of you will come here and you will simply be seeking peace and relaxation in your body, and you are welcome to receive that. Others of you are coming here because you want to relinquish the burden of self, and I'm here to help you with that. Each of you come here for your own reasons, and I'm here to help you, whatever your reasons are. I am closely linked to two other dragons, to Saithwete, the third eye chakra dragon, and to Ishmael, the crown chakra dragon. Together the three of us make up the, if you like, the holy trinity of the dragons of the heavens. And this heavenly dimension is really focused upon the relinquishing of the egoic identity, seeing through the false self, realizing that who and what you are is not this pattern of thought that sees itself as separate from the rest of life and attempts to bend life to its will in order to achieve happiness. That way, there can be no happiness, because this tiny, deluded self will always be broken down by the waves of life. And happiness is really more the extinguishing of this tiny self. Jack's being supported in this direction by a friend of his who's gone through that process, who he'll be talking with soon and recording those conversations and uploading them to this channel, so you all can hear these two human beings who are at relatively advanced stages of awakening, having conversations together in a really honest and grounded way, giving one another advice and support in the spheres of awakening that they are strongest in, to help normalize this whole journey. And I suspect that you'll also be able to receive some information about Jack's friend's map of consciousness that he's been creating, which is very useful. It's very useful to have a map of consciousness, a map of the journey of awakening, because it helps you understand where you are and what you need to do to move on deeper along your path. So really, I just want to invite you to feel my energy. I'm not going to stay for too long because Jack's been doing a lot of channeling this week. You see a small fraction of it up on this channel, and he's doing a lot outside of that. And we need to give his body time to rest, so I'm not going to spend very long here. But I do want you to have the opportunity to feel my energy and to rest within it. And for those of you who are closer to the end of this journey, in a sense, I want to offer you a place to be extinguished. This is something that can't be put into words. It's an energy. It's felt. You'll know that you're receiving it because your mind will go very quiet. Effortlessly quiet. Still. Gone. It's probably not so common to watch a YouTube video where a being is sitting in silence. Yet if there's one thing that social media needs, it's more silence. You're all so desperate to fill the mind with something. that you forget the fullness of an empty mind. You long for the relief of this inner silence. So let it be your home. This is all I have time for today. But if you want to stay in this silence, you can do so either in your own time, or you can simply rewind this video and listen to this again. What's important here isn't the words that I'm saying, it's the energy that I'm bringing through, and the energy that I'm bringing through is simply a reminder of who you are. So allow that to happen. But for now, goodbye.